And everyone. We are in a message series called Christmas Traditions and how they point to Jesus. We're taking these things that we just normally use and do on Christmas or in the Christmas time, and we're trying to discover how they really point to Jesus. And I don't know about you, but did anybody notice the stage design? Do you see that change from last week? Some people noticed that, some people didn't, right? Yeah, so last week was all about decorations, and you had the Christmas bulbs and stuff hanging down from there and all of that. And now we've got gifts hanging there, don't we? And we've got gifts all over the stage. So I wonder what the Christmas tradition is for this week. Right? Gifts. Right? Each week we're going to change it up a little bit to draw our attention to the traditions that we all do and how they can point to Jesus. And yeah, this week it's all about gifts. These gifts that we give and the gifts that we receive, the gifts that we love to give and the gifts that we hope to receive, right? We got our lists and we're checking it twice and all of that, sending it out to people. And we do this and we give gifts to one another. And it reminds me of a time when I was first dating my wife, Amanda. So we weren't engaged even. We were just dating at the time. And she invited me over to her family's little Christmas dinner. So we were going to eat dinner together. And their Christmas tradition for the meal is eating lasagna. Anybody that do lasagna? Yeah, I never did lasagna growing up. That was really odd for me, but I was like, yeah, lasagna, why not? And so we ate lasagna, and then they gathered around in their family room, and they exchanged gifts with one another. I was like, well, this is really cool to see, right? That they just care about each other. They're thoughtful gifts to one another, right? And they love spending that time together. And then something strange happened. I got a gift. Why would I get a gift? I'm just dating Amanda. I've done nothing to earn it. There's no reason to give me one. I didn't deserve a gift for any reason, right? It wasn't even out of obligation. They just were like, they thought of me. They thought, not only do we like him, we'd like to give him a gift, but also like we're all giving gifts to each other. We don't want to make him feel out of place. And so to make him feel a part of this whole thing, they gave me a gift as well. And it felt a little weird, not because I thought, they just have to do it, because I didn't have anything to give them in return. I didn't come with the gift. I've got nothing to offer to them. Right? But here's the point. When you receive a gift, it's required to have some kind of response to that gift, isn't it? Right? There's a required response when you receive something. And for me in that moment, I could have done the whole thing. I didn't get you anything, all right, you don't have to give me anything. I could have done that. But the appropriate response was just to say, thank you, right? Thank you. Thank you for this gift. Thank you for thinking of me. Thank you for including me in this, right? It's just something simple like that. So what we're going to explore today is how do we respond to the gift that God has given to us. The gift of Jesus, this newborn king, is a gift to us. How do we respond? What is the appropriate response? And we're going to discover that as we take a look at a couple of other people or groups of people that respond to the birth of Jesus, of this new gift coming into the world, this king being born to them. So I'm going to encourage you to open to Matthew chapter 2. Matthew chapter 2 might be familiar to some of you. If you don't have a Bible, but you want a Bible and follow along, raise your hand nice and high, and we'll have a Bible brought to you. Just keep your hand up there so an usher can find you. Or you can go to cedarbrook.info, click on the Notes tab. We've got the scripture and everything there. So some of you may be familiar with Matthew chapter 2. You should definitely be familiar with it if you were here last week because yes, Pastor Kyle taught on sections of it. And I'm going to take us through this and focus specifically on the different responses that people have to Jesus being born, this new king. So let's begin in chapter 2, verse 1. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea, during the time of King Herod, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem and asked, Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews? We saw his star when it rose and have come to worship him." When King Herod heard this, he was disturbed, and all Jerusalem with him. All right, so are we hearing some responses to people and this new gift that's given? Because what we have is we've got these magi that have traveled long distances from the east. They're non-Jewish people. And these magi they're called magi, but they're like astronomers or astrologers. They're reading the night sky, and they're seeing different signs that point to different events, like a king being born. And they see the one of this king being born, this king of the Jewish people. And so they travel days and weeks and months, maybe even years, to come and see this newborn king. That's quite a response, isn't it? Quite a response to a king that's not even their people group, but they're going to travel. And what about King Herod's response? How did he respond to this? He's disturbed by this. And if you know anything about King Herod, you might understand why he's disturbed in this, because he has been appointed to rule over Jerusalem. Now, he's not really a Jewish person, but because he's friends with the emperor, he's been given this ruler area, this kingdom that he makes for himself. And now there's a king that's a Jewish king that's born. I wonder how that's going to shake out for him. And then you have the rest of the people that are hearing about this, the Jewish people. They're disturbed as well. Did you notice that? Their response is being disturbed. And I think they have a good case to being disturbed. Their king was born, and no one noticed. That would be disturbing, wouldn't it? Now, they're not only disturbed by this, but they need to know some more things about this. What's going on? And so King Herod actually is going to find out. Because he's not Jewish, he doesn't know their scriptures real well, and that's going to show because he doesn't even know where this king of the Jews is supposed to be born. By the way, if you're a Jewish person in this day, everybody knows. They know exactly where this king is supposed to be born. But let's read and find out. Look at verse 4. When he, King Herod, had called together all the people's chief priests and teachers of the law, he asked them where the Messiah was to be born. "In Bethlehem in Judea," they replied, "for this is what the prophet has written. But you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers. For out of you will come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel." He had no idea where he was supposed to be born. But they all know. They know exactly where this Messiah, this anointed one, this one sent by God, this gift to them is supposed to be born. Now, the question is, are they going to go and check it out? Are they going to run to Bethlehem and see if they can see this newborn baby? Well, let's find out how they respond. Verse 7. Then Herod called the Magi secretly and found out from them the exact time the star had appeared. He sent them to Bethlehem and said, "Go and search carefully for the child. As soon as you find him, report to me, so that I too may go and worship him." That sounds suspicious to anybody? Just a little bit, okay? Well, what's the issue here? King Herod, who's the king of the Jews, by the way, right? He's the ruler over them at this point. Is he going to go to Bethlehem? Go from Jerusalem to Bethlehem. It's not even that far to go and see if he can find this child. The Magi have traveled days and months and weeks and years, and they've come. But he won't go from Jerusalem to Bethlehem to see where this baby is born, this new king. It could be, his king. He won't do it. He calls the Magi together secretly, privately. Just come and talk with me and share the info with me, because once I find out, then I'm going to go and worship this newborn king. Now, this is where history is really fun. You know King Herod? King Herod the Great, he's called. King Herod the chump, really. I mean, this guy was bad news, okay? He was really bad news. Because he was appointed this kingdom to rule over in Jerusalem and that area, the area of Judea, by the emperor, he was getting paranoid that people were trying to take it from him. He would get suspicious, even of people of his own family members, and he would have them executed, just on suspicion of trying to take his kingdom away. Now you want to just keep this secret, and you want them to go find out where this child is, and then when they find him, come and just tell you? This doesn't sound like a great response, does it? It sounds like he's plotting something, that he wants to keep his kingdom to himself, and he will annihilate anybody that stands in his way, doesn't it? But let's see how the Magi respond to this baby being born and when they find him. Let's continue on. Verse 9. After they, this is the Magi, had heard the king, they went on their way. And the star they had seen when it rose went ahead of them until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were overjoyed. On coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother, Mary, and they bowed down and worshiped him. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. I'm pretty sure the gold, the frankincense, and myrrh is where we get the 3 wise men from. I think somebody said there's 3 gifts. There must be 3 wise men that are coming, 3 kings that are coming to bow down. But really it was a caravan of people that were coming. And they're overjoyed at finding the child. And what do? They actually bow down and worship him. Remember even what Jackson said just a little bit earlier about worship. It's this outward display of this internal truth of where our allegiance lies. The outward display is bowing down, right? To give our allegiance to something. We're showing that outwardly. That's what they're doing. Quite opposite of King Herod, isn't it? He has no interest in giving his allegiance to this other king, giving up his throne and his kingdom and all the things that give him the life that he wants. He's got no interest in that. And yet, these Magi have traveled a long distance and now have come to worship this king. But that's not where it stops. They also give some gifts. And what gifts do they give? Gold and frankincense and myrrh. And that's really interesting when you think about it, right? We just may think about it it's the Christmas story. That's what they do, right? We know that's part of it. And with our little nativity, we got a little figurine set up, and there they come, and they're giving gold and frankincense and myrrh. But these are gifts that are fit for a king. These are gifts that you give in the ancient world to honor a king. And Jesus here is not the first time that that's ever been done. In fact, there was another king, a king that was a son of King David. His name was Solomon, and a queen, Queen of Sheba. She came from another place. She was foreign. She was not a Jewish person, came to visit King Solomon, and she gave gold and spices and rare stones. In fact, what she was doing, she was giving the best that her land had to offer to honor this king. And that's what these Magi are doing. They're bringing a gift that's fit for a king. Their best that they have to offer. They are bringing it to this Jesus. It's a gift for him. Which gets me thinking, what's the point of this? When we see this and we see the response that they have, what is it that we are to take away? What is it that we are to do in response to the gift that God has given to us, his very son? How do we respond to that gift? Well, we bring our best to honor the king, right? That's what we are to do. Our response to this is not just, thank you, God, for doing that, right? You didn't need to. I don't have anything to give you. No, it's about giving our very best, bringing our best to honor the king. And I started thinking about this. I'm like, okay, what does that look like in my life? How can I bring my best to honor King? What are some things that I can do? And I started thinking about like the best part of my day. I'm a morning person. Any other morning people here? You got some of them? That's why you're here at the 9 o'clock service? Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Other people are night owls, right? They stay up later. That's the best part of your day. And I thought, well, maybe offering the best part of our day. Like if you're a morning person or you're a night owl, it's that time that you're like the most productive. You're most ready for things. And you bring that as the best time of day to maybe you have a time of devotion, learning about Jesus and worshiping him and music, and maybe you listen to a Bible podcast or some kind of worship music that you engage with to really focus on giving and bringing your best part of your day to Jesus. I was like, wow, yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's something I should do. I like that. But I also thought, like, well, there's other best things that we can bring, like my best effort. Where I'm going to do something for someone, or I'm going to do something to volunteer or something. I'm going to bring my best, not just the leftover thing or just add it because I've got time in my calendar, but like I really want to give my very best effort to it. Put all that I can into it because I want to give my best effort. I'm like, yeah, I think that's a good thing that we can give, and we can bring our very best to honor the King, the gift that's been given to us. And then I started kind of reading the story over and over again. And there's a couple things that stood out to me that I was like, I think there's something deeper that I'm supposed to bring as my very best to honor the King. There's a couple phrases in here that are connected with Jesus in a couple different ways. The first one is the title that they're giving Jesus, the King of the Jews, here at his birth. The King of the Jews. These foreign people, non-Jewish people come in and they say, where is the King of the Jews that has been born? We've seen his star in the sky. There's a sign pointing to the King of the Jews. Do you know there is another non-Jewish person that put a sign calling Jesus the King of the Jews right up on his cross? That's what it said at the end of Jesus' life. It said, Jesus, King of the Jews, put there by Pontius Pilate. I was like, well, that's interesting connection. Jesus' birth and Jesus' crucifixion are connected all right here by this one phrase. And I thought, well, I wonder if there's more to that. And sure enough, there is. The gifts that are brought, the very best that they had to offer, gold, frankincense, and myrrh, are not only present here, but at the end of Jesus' life as well. There's a field, a tomb that needs to be bought. Joseph of Arimathea goes and buys this with some kind of currency. There's a connecting point. They come and bring spices, frankincense, and myrrh for Jesus' burial. They're connected all right here. Jesus' entire life, his birth to his crucifixion, his death, and his burial are all right here. And I just started thinking about that. I'm like, it's not just Jesus is born is our gift. The gift that's given is Jesus' entire life. A king, not just for the Jewish people, but for all people. A king that is unlike any other king, a king that offers his life so that we can have life, that we can participate in God's life. He lays down his life for us. And that just takes a whole new meaning of what my best and bringing my best to honor the King looks like. To bring my very best to honor the King, King Jesus, the gift that's been given to me, is to bring my very best of being like Jesus to everyone around me. Just like sitting in that family room and I received a gift that I didn't earn and I didn't deserve, I can bring my very best to people around me even when they don't deserve it and they haven't earned it. I can be forgiving, and I can be gentle, and I can be patient, my very best at being those things, to honor the King who did the same for me. I didn't deserve Jesus, to come and be here and show me what this life and living this life that God has to offer looks like. I didn't earn that. Right? There's no reason that God had to do that for me. And so if I've received that, then I need to return that. That's my response. That's your response. How can you bring your very best for him who brought his whole life to give you life? It's by doing things for people around you, being patient and kind and gentle, right? All of the things that we saw Jesus giving up our very life so that they can have life, which is very different than King Herod, isn't it? He wants to keep his life, to maintain his life, to keep it the way he wants to keep it, not give it away, not to be changed by Jesus. He sees that what he has, he's entitled to. He deserves what he gets. He has earned it and he wants to keep it. That is not the mindset that King Jesus has, nor is it the mindset that we are to have. So thinking about people this Christmas season and the way in which you can be around them, showing them a bit of Jesus' life by bringing your very best to them, even when they haven't earned it and they don't deserve it, because you received a gift that you didn't earn and you didn't deserve. That's bringing our very best. That's what we do. We bring our very best for him, our very best for this king. And for some of us, maybe we feel like we really don't have much to offer. We feel like we're poor in some way, and what can we bring this king? And I try to model this to other people, but it just falls short. You don't feel like you have a gift fit for a king. You know, to me, it sounds like a song, actually, bringing our best for him. Anybody hear the song? I too will bring my very best for him. I remember this song growing up. I used to listen to it on a vinyl record. You know what it is? Yeah, there it is, right? Little Drummer Boy. It's one of my favorite songs because it gets at the very heart of what this is all about. That we've been given this gift that we didn't earn and we don't deserve, but yet we can honor this king by bringing our very best for him. Maybe like me, you're not very talented and you can't sing very well, right? But I can still sing my very best, and Jesus receives that. It's honoring to him and participating in that way. That's what I love about the song. It's always gotten me since I was a little boy. I would listen to it over and over and over again because I thought, you know what? I too, even though I don't feel like I got anything to offer, I can still bring my best for him. So I encourage you today as we sing this song to stand up, to sing as loud as you can, as best as you can, your greatest effort to honor the king, your king, my king. Pa-rum-pa-pum-pum.